Yo, what's going on, everybody? So, I wanted to hop on here tonight and tell you guys the story of the time I snuck into a penthouse party. So, my boy Zion heard of this penthouse party that was happening by some like Ottawa U kid. He was in Carleton and I was in the Algonquin College. So, like, three different schools, right? Word had gotten around. He wasn't even invited, he just somehow knew of it and was kind of like hitting me up, being like, we should try and get into this. Because I guess it was like pretty widely advertised to the point where other people were like trying to get invited to this thing. I knew nothing of it. He just hit me up and was like, I know this. I think what's going to be a crazy party going off in this penthouse. I think we could sneak in. And I was like, I don't know. But then I went over and started chilling with him and like drinking and smoking and shit like that. And he got me pretty hyped up. I was like, all right, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. And honestly, turns out incredibly easy. Way easier than I expected. We just Ubered down there, walked into this apartment building with a large group of people that were walking in, walked right into the elevator, and it went right to the penthouse. We just immediately got into this party. And honestly, it was pretty dope. It was like bumping. The penthouse was pretty sweet. It was all glass. You could see like all of Ottawa. Not the craziest city, but unique still to see it. And then there was just this large area where the majority of the guests were hanging out, and then like a VIP area, you can call it. Like there was actually people guarding that area with like some tape and shit like that. We just kicked it with the normies in the large area. There were still drinking games and like people to cut it up with, so it was cool. But once we got in there, we kind of realized like we only knew each other. We didn't know anyone, so there wasn't much to do. We challenged randoms in drinking games like Pong and shit like that, but mainly just stuck with each other making jokes. We had also snuck some, well, I mean, by snuck, I wore a backpack in there and it had booze in it. We brought a bunch of Four Locos. Now, if you don't know what a Four Loco is, it's like the craziest shit to ever be invented. It should never have been invented. It's just like a large tall boy can, bigger than a tall boy. I don't know what you call it, with like 15% alcohol or some shit, a bunch of caffeine, and a bunch of sugar. Maybe it might be 13.9% alcohol or something stupid, but it's up there, right? It's pretty strong. If you have like two or three of these things, you're good. Also, even if you can drink more, isn't having more than two Four Locos like an insane person thing to do? Who would drink more than two? That's absurd. So I think we brought 4 to 5 up there and some weed. Now the weed was a no-go. There wasn't even a balcony. There was no smoking in there. We would have been screwed instantly, and there didn't really look to be anywhere to go. So we were just smashing these Four Locos. Now also, nobody checked our bag, but they were like doing where you had to buy drinks in there. It wasn't BYOB. People were like having drink tickets and shit like that. Lame. But no one checked our bag. So we would just go into the washroom sometimes and just like chug some Four Loco, as greasy as that is. But then we realized, like, oh, not that many people are really going to pay attention to this. And we just started drinking them out in the open. And we were right. Nobody ever commented on it. So they weren't really enforcing their rules or their, like, entrance policy at all. Like, I mean, we got right in there and we're drinking our own booze. But my buddy eventually, like, started talking to some random people. And I guess I, like, walked off to look around this place. Well, I started cutting it up with some dude near a window or whatever because I was commenting on the view and me and him were like talking about it and I was asking him like what school he went to, what he was doing, who he knew here, random bullshit, small talk at a party, and it was a good time. We got talking enough where like we had been chatting for I don't know, maybe 30-40 minutes, a long ass time. We even played some drinking games together and shit, and I was like, this guy's dope, I'm kicking it with him. And then I had the balls. I was like, you know what? I have not seen any security. Nobody has been enforcing the rules. I'm just going to tell this guy I snuck in here and I know nobody because I thought it was funny, right? Well, he thought it was hilarious and he was like, that's dope, dude. Like, I can't believe you just randomly showed up to this party because I didn't know, again, anybody. So then he took me over. He's like, I can get you in the VIP. And I was like, what? And then he told me he owned the place. He literally was the owner. I had confessed to sneaking into the owner's like son, like he didn't own the place, his dad did, but the son, you know what I mean? And he thought that was hilarious because he was drunk enough and I guess was a chill guy, a cool dude. So he just brought me into VIP, gave me a fuckload of food because there was like a buffet in there and shit, and got a bunch of free drink tickets. Well, I was chilling over there for like a good while, right? Like I had unlimited food, drinks, all this shit, and I was just enjoying myself, zoned out. And that's when my buddy I realized was just like in the normie section staring at me. He was he had been going into the bathroom to drink his Four Loco. It was like wondering where I was, and I was living it up, you know? I had unlimited access to everything, and I completely forgot about him. I left him, behind. My bad, dude. My bad. After I realized this, I obviously just got like a bunch of plates, filled them with hors d'oeuvres, and just went and cashed in all my drink tickets and then brought that shit over to him. I probably looked like I was like stealing from the VIP because when I was crossing back over the tape, I was just like biting solo cups of drinks and holding all these plates across both my arms. I look fucked. So, anyways, I brought him all that shit and he had it. I caught back up with him and he forgave me. But then since I like knew the owner, I knew his name and shit like that, I was like, bro, we don't have to be like concerned about going outside. We can get back up here, no problem. So then we started going out for smokes and smoking weed and shit out there. And I was throwing his name around. I was a big name at this party now because I was friends with the guy who owned the place. But the weirdest thing was when I was outside for like one of my smokes or whatever with my boy, we were chilling there and then this dude came up to us and I realized it was my landlord's son. The landlord lived like 8 hours away from this place, so his son still lived in the city and would like maintain the house for us. By the way, he was probably late 20s at this time, and we were like 19 max. So this dude being here, I was like, what the fuck? It caught me way off guard. So I was just chatting him up outside and shit like that, and I kind of figured I was like, oh, I guess maybe he just lives in this building. I don't know. And then we went back upstairs and we were kicking it again, and that's when I realized he was in there with us. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy? Who does he even know? Like, it made no sense to me. I was like, there's no way he's also the landlord of this place because if that's true, we got fucked. We got the shittiest place in the world in comparison. He also didn't really seem like he knew anybody because he was talking to us a lot. Like, he kept, like, coming back to us, even though there was a point where I was trying to be like, all right, fuck, dude. I didn't want this guy around. He was also, like, giving away, he was blowing up our spot. I had access to VIP and this guy's like screwing it up, It's just some random dude that they definitely don't want in there. He probably also snuck in, if I'm being honest. But again, how did he even find out about this? So I was like, fuck, we got to get away from this guy. So I went back to the VIP area to see if I could get more food and like, mooch more drink tickets out of the owner's son. I went up there casually, trying to cut it up and sneak back into the conversation. But I don't know if I was just like too drunk and fucking it up at this point or if he caught wind that I was hanging out with the old guy at the party. I'm not sure. But he didn't really seem like he was cool with me anymore. He seemed like he was annoyed by my presence, which was weird. The last time I talked to him, this guy was being very pleasant and giving me free shit. I was like, what did I do? But maybe he just like forgot who I was and was like, dude, what are you talking about? So I wasn't able to get anything else out of this dude. And I was like, all right, I feel like this party's kind of wrapping up, This guy's following us around. We can't get any more free shit. We're out of our own booze. So me and my boy, we just went back to my house. We got away from my landlord's son or whatever. He did not come with us. And when we got back to my house, this is kind of wild. So we used to go into the basement and hit bowls out of a bong and then blow it out this window or whatever, right? And it was very common for us to have batch lying around. And if you're not familiar with what that is, that's just like loose tobacco shaken out of like a cigarette or whatever. So we would do batch bowls where you put some like tobacco on the weed. Very greasy. I do not do that shit now. Haven't in years and years. But anyways, my boy went and hit these. We hit them all the time. After a party is crazy. We were like hammered, smoking weed all night. This is like probably 2 a.m. and we're just ripping batch bowls before bed. That's crazy. That's like insane person behavior. So anyways, I dip, I go to bed, I think nothing of it. I wake up in the morning, I come downstairs. He slept on the couch or whatever. I come down there. He is fucked up. His face is like all fucked up, like black eye, bloody, swollen, like really fucked up. And I was like, holy shit, man. I was like, what happened to you? Like, what the fuck? I was like, did you go outside and get in a fight at 4 a.m.? Like, it was crazy. And he didn't really know what happens, but we pieced it together that when I went upstairs, he hit another batch bowl and got like such a gnarly head rush. It was already just so hammered off like 4 Locos and rum and cokes that he momentarily like blacked out, collapsed, smoked his face off our ping pong table and then off the concrete floor. And woke up there at like 7 a.m. and then moved to the couch. And I was just like, oh my God. You got to get your life together, dude. I couldn't believe that. That's still so funny to me. Anyways, that was just like a really greasy. Oh, and by the way, the next day, my landlord's son, he hit me up and he was like, "Did I see you at that party last night?" Trying to like play it under the table, just like really cool. And I was like, "Yes." I was like, "Who?" I was like, "Why were you there, by the way?" And he never responded to that. I never brought it up again, but that was just very odd to me. Anyways, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Peace.